come back up afterwards too. Y'all tell me when you're ready. Okay, excited to introduce Darin Hinshaw as our new offensive coordinator and quarterback coach. Probably about halfway through the year this season, it kind of hit me that to be a head coach this day and time and be a play caller, wouldn't work. And I started feeling that way about halfway through the season and finished everything. And then so when the season's over, I just wanted to really open it up and find the best person for us. And this is the first time I've really went outside my coaching tree, and there's a couple things I was looking for in this hire. First of all, a guy that could develop quarterbacks, had a history of doing that, and a guy that has called plays successfully in the past. I was also looking for someone that was really, desperate to succeed, similar to what I was as an OC. That was important to me. And then somebody that's had success in the running and the passing game. And really, lastly, someone that brings some fresh ideas, some new, fresh ideas. And Darin was all the above with that. And then probably the fact that I was able to work with him 2 years ago and just see the type of person he was and the love that he has for this place. That's why he was the perfect hire. So real excited really to introduce Darin Hinshaw as our new offense coordinator and quarterback coach.
Thank you, Gus. It's surreal to be able to walk into this place. And I threw my first touchdown pass in 1991, and now I'm the offensive coordinator at UCF. And the number one guy I have to thank is Gus Malzahn. And, the passion he has, and he's been an icon in offense for 25 years. And for him to give me the play calling duties is a great honor. And I want to make him proud. And I'm excited about this role. I'm excited to be home, to be at UCF, to be here where I sweat, I bleed black and gold. And the people that know me in this coaching industry know that. They know my passion and that this is my dream job. And the number, one person I want to thank is God. And God has put me in places all throughout my career. And it's been 25 years that I've been coaching. I started at UCF, and understand that God puts you in places that you necessarily don't want to be, but He's training you for things to come. And I've been at great schools and great situations, and I always wanted to be back here. And I always wanted to call the plays here and be in charge of this offense. And I can't tell you how excited I am, but the one thing I want you to understand, this is going to be about the players. It's not about me. It's about the players. It's about this university. It's about the assistant coaches that I'm going to be working with. It's going to be all the support staff, GAs, all the analysts. Everybody's important that make a program. And my goal, and again, when Coach Malzahn says hungry and understands what hungry is I'm coming home to my alma mater not to fail. Understand that. I'm coming here to succeed. And to tell you what this offense is and what we're going to do, you're going to see an offense that's going to be fast. We're going to be multiple tempo. We are going to have a hard-nosed, physical run game. And we are going to throw the football down the field. We are going to have an efficient passing game, but we are going to take shots. We're going to train our players, and we're going to train our quarterbacks how to do that. I've done it my whole career. I've been great at throwing the football at places, and I've been great at running the football at places. And I've had great total offenses of both. But to have an opportunity to do it here at UCF, I'm so excited and ready to go and ready to move forward with this. And again, I thank God for that opportunity and being here, and I would not be here if it wasn't for him. Questions?
Hey, Coach, Brandon Hellwood with Rivals.com. Can you kind of tell me about your journey? And I know your first college coaching job, you were a GA here at UCF. You coached quarterbacks in 2000, then you went on to Middle Tennessee, and you've been all over the country. At that point in time, and that was a tough decision, I'm sure, to leave UCF where you were an alumni. Just talk to me about that. Was a goal, right? I know you touched on that you wanted to get back to UCF. I don't know if you knew it was going to be 20 plus years, but just kind of talk me through this past 2 decades and just coming back home.
Well, Gene Chizik was the defensive coordinator here, and he said to me, you got to move on to be able to move up, and you'll come back one day. Now, I didn't know it was going to be 20-some years later when Gene told me that, but he introduced me to Larry Fedora, who was running a tempo offense at Middle Tennessee, and I got to work under him for 1 year, and then later became the offensive coordinator. And I was the youngest offensive coordinator in Division I calling plays. So that's a part of what I'm talking about is being trained. I was being trained at that moment what the tempo offense was. And again, what we ran at UCF under Mike Kruzik, and his stats and what he did. And again, I had the great opportunity to throw for 9,000 yards. You know, Dante Culpepper came in the next year after my 4 years and threw for 11,000 yards. And then I got to come back and coach Ryan Snyder, who threw for 10,000 yards. And those were back to back to back, which is pretty impressive as far as what we did offensively throwing the football. So I like to throw the football. And that's part of who I am. But I've also learned in this process to run the football, and it's a must. And you got to be great at it, and you have to be physical, and you got to be demanding, and we have to be disciplined. We got to have great attitude, our toughness, our effort. When people put on our film at UCF, they go, wow, we got to play these guys. That's what we want with effort from everybody. And again, with the players is developing them and again, knowing who they are, who these players are that play for us. In this day and age, again, with everything that's going on with the portal, it's so important that we do that and that we make it about the players and that they understand that, again, playing at UCF is awesome. And it's a great opportunity in going off to another school and doing that when you can play 4 years at UCF. And if you go to the NFL after 3, and we've got some guys they're going to be doing that here at UCF. And Coach Malzahn has recruited a great roster. And we just went over it. I got in the staff room with the offensive staff. We went through the roster. I really like what our roster looks like.
Darin, Jason Beatty with the Orlando Sentinel. You were here during Gus Malzahn's first season as an analyst. What did you kind of do in that role, and what did you learn about UCF? I mean, you mentioned the roster. Some of it's still the same going into this season, but there are some changes as well.
Yeah, and Gus Malzahn called me and said, hey, man, I want you to come and work on defense. And I was like, what in the world? Are you kidding me? And it was a situation in my career where I could do it. And it was one of the best years I've had. And working with Travis Williams, working with Addison Williams, working with Kenny Martin, and again, working with, David Gibbs and Kenny Ingram, and being able to go and learn what they're thinking. And there's sometimes I sat in there and go, what are they saying? But I got to learn a big part of what defense was thinking, and I also got to help our team and be a part of, us beating the Florida Gators. And it was a great experience. Again, I was right-hand man to Travis Williams, and it was a great experience to be able to learn as a defensive coordinator what he's thinking, and then to be able to help him know what we're thinking offensively and how we're going to attack our defense.
You shared some of the bullet points of your offense as far as what you want to accomplish. How would you define your style as a play caller, and what does it mean to be able to do that for UCF now? As
a play caller, I'm aggressive. That's who I'm always been. But as a play caller, there's situational football too. There is. And, when you got the ball and you got 4 minutes to go before half and you're getting the ball in the second half, and Coach Malzahn tells me, hey, listen, I know we're going fast and we're doing these things, but boy, I'd really like to run that 4 minutes off and not let their offense back on the field, because we're getting the ball in the second half, and be able to know when to slow it down, when to run the ball the correct way, and again, take advantages of defenses. Play calling has to go with what defenses are doing. As defenses, again, continue to hunker down to stop run game, you got to throw the ball vertically down the field. You have to. When they're back and they're playing coverage and they're doing that, you have to be able to run the football. And when I was talking with Herb Hand, I think it's a great quote, and that is, you want to run the ball when you need to, and you run the ball when you want to, pass the ball when you need to, and pass the ball when you want to. And the only way to do that is develop a rock, again, in the run game, and then be able to develop a passing game where our players know what to do, they can play fast, they understand where to go, and they understand the offense just as good as I do. And that's the process, to be able to develop an offense where they can go out and play fast. And again, when we play, why do we play fast? It's to take pressure, put pressure on the defense, but put pressure on the defensive coordinator, and that's why you run a tempo offense.
Coach, here in the back, Shane Whitehead, WFTV. You said you were coming home. Was that enticing enough, or helping lead the program to the Big 12? Kind of what put you over?
No, are you kidding me? We're going in the Big 12. This is one of the greatest times of UCF history, and to be able to come back and be a part of that it's exactly what you can't have a script better than that. And where this program is going, and where the administration is going, it's exciting, and to be a part of that is I mean, I got to pinch myself sometimes thinking about it. But we're going to be playing a lot of the same teams that we've played, that were in other conferences, and it's going to be fun to go into that conference and to go attack it.
How have you looked at UCF through the years? Obviously, when you were a player and they were making the preparations to go 1A, and you came back as a coach, and you know Coach McDowell, Coach Kruzak, Steve Sloan, those guys, they always had high aspirations for where this program could be. But seeing it from afar, seeing the big bowl wins over the last 10 years, now going into the Big 12, just kind of what have you thought about UCF's rise since your playing days?
Well, again, as an alumni and had played here, again, just so proud of the university and where it has gone from when I played here, when I left as a coach, and where it is going. And again, I have so many people that I'm tied to as far as alumni, people in this city. My mom and dad live here. I have two brothers that live here. My son goes to school down the street. Again, very excited about what UCF has done and where it's going.
Where did you call plays before? I've read a little bit about your background. You've made different stops. Obviously, you spent 5 years in Kentucky. But where did you call plays before, and why do you feel ready to do so in the Big 12?
I mean, I called plays at Middle Tennessee State. That was, the first job that I left from UCF. And I called some plays here at UCF. I know Mike Kruzak, but Mike Kruzak knows I did too. When I left Middle Tennessee, I went to Georgia Southern as the offensive coordinator there. And that was definitely an experience, and because we took a triple option team and not one offensive lineman a pass set ever, and made it into a top 20 offense and ran a tempo offense. And I called all the plays there. From there, I went to Memphis, where Clay Helton was the offensive coordinator under Tommy West, and I did help Clay Helton call the plays. I was right there in the box with him. From there, from Memphis, I went to Tennessee. And in Tennessee, Jim Chaney was the offensive coordinator, and Jim Chaney called the plays. I was his field general on the field. He was in the box. And Jim and I got really close as we went through the years. And the one thing that we did do was change Tennessee's offense into a tempo offense by the year 2015. 2012. Those years start to get really mixed up as you go through them. But we changed it into a tempo offense. And that was a situation where I mean, Jim would be, because we were throwing it around the park, and we had Cordero Patterson, Justin Hunter, Tyler Bray. We had a NFL roster that we had built on offense, and it was really exciting to be able to see it go take off, because I had done it, and to be able to go see us go do that was special. And then when I went to Cincinnati, you know, I was looking someplace to take this offense. You know, the offense that we built at Tennessee. And Eddie Gran was coming over to Tommy Tupperville at Cincinnati. And Eddie Gran, I called Eddie Gran. I said, do you have an offense that you want to run? And he said, what do you got in mind? I said, well, I got the perfect one. And I said, can I come present it to you? And at that time, you know, I was looking for a coordinator job to go run it, but at Cincinnati, I felt like this was a great opportunity. And I don't have an ego. And I won't have an ego here. This isn't about me. It's about UCF. But Eddie Grant and I did some special things at Cincinnati, and we in 3 years, we threw just under 12,000 yards in 3 seasons, and we had a top just about top 10 in every category at one point during the season, and I think we finished in the top 6 in passing, and we were top 7 first and first downs, third and third downs, and I think we finished 6th or 7th in total offense that year. And then after that was done, but the answer to your question is I helped train Eddie Gran, you know, as far as like, this is how you call this offense, and we did it together. And Eddie Gran is an unbelievable human being that I got to work with for 8 years. And he is a huge friend of mine. I have unbelievable respect for him, and what a leader of men he is. And to be able to go take it to Kentucky. And then when we went to Kentucky, we were doing the same thing. We had some quarterback issues at Kentucky where, you know, we had some guys transfer out. We had Drew Barker, who was a 5-star quarterback starting for us, who got hurt after the first game, and we had to go make some changes and find ways to win. And that's the one thing we did. And we went to 5 straight bowls at Kentucky. And I'm very proud of that. And it was unbelievable working for Mark Stoops. And, you know, so again, I've been calling plays my whole life. One thing Mike Kruzik did train me as a player. As a freshman, I didn't get to call anything. As a sophomore, I started to. And then as I got to a junior, he trained me how to call the offense from the line of scrimmage. And that is when you are at your peak, when you can sit there and be able to call the offense what he's thinking as the offensive coordinator as a quarterback. And that's how I like to train quarterbacks. I want them thinking like I am. And that's the whole point of being able to run an offense. I went to the New Orleans Saints and got to hang around Drew Brees. And when we went into the offensive staff room, I sat next to the offensive coordinator, and Drew Brees ran the meeting. It was pretty darn impressive. But that's when you're at the point where you understand that your quarterback understands what you're thinking. And again, you know, play calling, if you ask me, you know, what I do good and what I do bad in coaching, what I do good is calling plays. And the only thing I'd say bad that I do is I recruit players I probably can't get, because I go try to recruit the best. And, you know, sometimes I waste my time doing that, but I try to go recruit the best.
I know the word started to trickle out last night about this position for you. I know it was officially announced a few minutes ago. What's your phone been like with ex-UCF guys, alumni? What's that been like as you hear back from familiar names through the years? Oh,
it's been awesome, and I apologize to everyone. I promise you I will text you back, and I will call you back. I promise. It's been very hectic, and I definitely will return every call, and I will make sure that I text everybody back. And thank you so much for all the support. It's been tremendous. And I just think there's a lot of people in this business. I think there's a lot of people in the community that know how passionate I am about this job. This is my dream job. This is where I want to be, is UCF. And again, looking forward to this process and this challenge. And everything's a challenge, and I'm looking forward to it.
Can you give us a sense of the timeline from finishing the UAB season to this point here as to how the job and how everything kind of fell into place? Well,
I was actually in the Bahamas, Bowl, and I was actually sitting by the pool at that time in the Bahamas. And I saw that Chip Lindsey had left, and I had 10 people call me from UCF and said, "You got to call Gus, you got to call Gus, you got to call Gus." And guess what I did? I walked right over to the beach and I called him. And I left him a long message. And, you know, and the only reason I'm here, guys, is number one, Gus Malzahn, but because Gus Malzahn called me to come work on defense. So he got to see me work and how hard I work, and my passion for this university, and that's the reason I'm here. That's the reason I'm standing here, and it's because of Gus Malzahn.
What are your early thoughts on John Rice Plumlee and the UCF quarterback room?
And I've already talked to all the quarterbacks, and I got on the phone with them all. And the bottom line is this, and I do this every year, everywhere I've been. It's a clean slate. And everybody has an opportunity to go be the starting quarterback. And that's the truth. And whether it's John Rice, you know, Tommy Castellano, we've got, you know, we got Timmy McClain, you know, and we'll have a freshman come in and Dylan Risk. But you know, the situation, again, I've done that every year. And the reason is because you want competition in the room. You know, you don't set the depth chart before anybody does anything. And the one thing I learned that as a player, when I played here, every year they brought in a guy to take my job, and transfers coming in, and it made me better. And the biggest thing you want in that room is competition, and it makes the room better. The one thing I will say about our room is that we're going to love each other. We're going to cheer for each other when we're on the field. We're going to care about each other. That is one thing that will not change with me. And we're going to have fun in that room. We're going to have fun in our offensive room. And when I say fun, I want them to be excited to come in that room. And again, I'm going to teach them about God. I'm going to teach them about life. I'm going to teach them about so many things besides football. Because life brings storms now, and you got to be able to handle them. And again, life isn't easy. Everybody wants, you know, instant coffee. But the bottom line is that you got to go work for it and earn it. And, you know, that room, I'm excited about this room. I'm excited about who we have. And I'm excited to go watch film on every single one of our players on offense.
All right. Good stuff.
Thank you, Coach.
And bring up Coach Malzahn with a few follow-ups. Anybody have anything?
Questions?
Coach, just kind of tell us more about this process. You know, Chip Lindsey leaves right before bowl prep. You know, you worked with Darin last year. Was he a name that even before he reached out to you that you were thinking could be a possibility?
Everything happened quick with Chip leaving, and of course, you know, we were in the process of getting ready for a bowl too, and so, you know, my mind started thinking, you know, and those things that I was looking for that I talked about earlier. I had a real open mind, and if you really look at my past, you know, I've always hired somebody in my tree and all that, but I had an open mind to find the best guy, and I talked to some big-time coaches, some great coaches. I really tried to wait until after the bowl game. I really wanted to put all our energy in that, and so then went to work. And, you know, since the day the bowl game was over until, you know, last night, that's really what I was doing, going out to find the best guy, and it just happened to be Darin Hinshaw. And so, and you can see his passion. I mean, it stands out. You see everything that you know I was looking for in this position. The fact that, you know, I'm going to give up play calling, I'm going to be a head coach. In this day and time, I mean, I don't know how head coaches can be play callers. I mean, there's probably a few out there that can still pull it off, but there's more challenges than ever before. I'm really excited about the next step in my head coaching career, spending time with our players, just overseeing our program. You know, we have our hands full with the NIL world right now, and the one-time portal and the roster management. There's just, everything's been accelerated. And like I said, about halfway through the year, I started feeling that way, and so that's how we got to this point.
When you were introduced here, you said you probably want to call plays for the rest of your career.
Yep.
Halfway through the season, you said before you maybe felt there was a change. What changed?
Yeah, it was the change in the new age of college football and the new challenges of college football. It's not the same, even close to the same as 2 years ago. Just the challenges of being a head coach And most of it has been, the rule changes with NIL and the one-time transfer, and it's almost now like an NFL roster that you're managing. And so just the challenges of everything that goes with that, and just feeling that, throughout the season, and just the things that I really needed to be doing instead of being in that film room worried about 3rd and 1 to 2. And so it was a process that, I talked with Terry probably, a little past mid-season, and told him what I really felt like I needed to do. And so that's how we got to this point.
Coach, you said midway point. Was there ever any time around there where you thought just handing it over to Chip, or was this something you were going to do at the end of the year? I mean, give up play calling. That's got to be a kind of a gut-wrenching
I think
decision.
at the time when I started thinking, I think we were top 5 in the country in total offense. So I felt the continuity of the way we're operating. I got a lot of, Chip's a wonderful coach in his own right, and he's going to do great. But when you get in a routine and everything that goes with it, especially, I can't remember, it was after one of the big wins, but I felt strong that we keep the continuity of what we were doing throughout the, to finish up the season.
How do you feel about the quarterback depth going into next season? I mean, obviously John Wright said he's coming back. I know he had some injury, hamstring issues. He wasn't able to start every game. And then you got 2 guys that have never really played. Do you feel comfortable, or is there a possibility you can maybe go after another quarterback?
Yeah, I'm going to let Darin evaluate everything. I know he's excited. I'm excited about working with these guys in the spring, and we'll see what happens.
Just wondering, how important was it to make this hire someone who develops quarterbacks, just with the state of the quarterback?
Yeah, that was one of the number one things. It's more about development probably than ever before as far as recruiting goes, and just getting a proven guy, and then, real fortunate to not just have a proven guy that's developed quarterbacks, but actually was one of the better quarterbacks to ever play at this school. I think that's very unique with that. And then, like I said before, just me being able to work with Darin for a year to see the type of person he is. And that's what really was a big factor for me, too, just finding the right guy. So I had a lot of information on him, and so that had a big factor in things.
In your introduction, you said that Darin's going to bring some fresh ideas. So conceptually, how much different do you expect UCF's offense to look by the time fall?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be him calling the plays and running the offense. I mean, obviously build upon the strengths that we have currently, but we got to open this thing up. And, I want Darin to bring his fresh, new ideas. And what I like is when he talks about vertically down the field, I mean, that gets me excited. And I think that'll get our fans excited. I know our players will get excited. So that's what we need, and that's what he's going to bring.
You promoted Addison Williams internally. Did you consider any internal candidates, or was there a lot of interest in this job?
First of all, we got some really good guys on the defensive side. Addison's kind of one of those rising stars right there. He's been with me before. Like I said, similar to Darin, he was off the field, and I knew exactly what I was getting. And like I told you in his presser, I mean, he's capable. He's got that factor. He's capable of being great. And there's not a lot of guys out there that you can say that.
I think Jimbo Fisher at Texas A&M, I think today they were announcing he's hiring an offensive coordinator. He's going to hand over play calling duties to Bobby Petrino. Is that a discussion you've had with peers in this business, of guys who have been in your position that have been calling plays and head coaches? Yeah,
I mean, the head coach is in my tree. We all talk. And, I think, my man Eli Drinkwitz, I think he's hiring a play caller OC. He's a really good play caller in his own right. And I think that's just where we're at. And, man, if you can still call plays and be a head coach at this level, this day and time, I mean, you're a real unique person. I know there's a couple that are still doing it that are really good at it, but I think that list is going to go shorter and shorter.
Coach, did you see something in the Big 12 this year that made you think that a different type of offense might be needed, something Coach can bring?
Yeah, it really wasn't that. I mean, when I started thinking this way, I think we may have been number 4 in the country in total offense. I don't know. It was just, finding the right person, the right fit, that could, make us the best offense possible, score the most points possible. You look at that league, I mean, one of them fixed to play for the national championship, and they could score a lot of points. So, it really wasn't so much about the next league as far as this hire, but obviously, you got to score points to win that league.
Were you surprised that your starting center, Matt Lee, decided to go into the portal?
I think we're in a new day of college football. I'm not for sure. There's surprises. It's just a new day. And like I've told you before, I think I told you halfway through the year, it's about adapting, and that's what we're doing. Any other questions about Darin?
All right, perfect. Thanks.
All right, thank y'all.
Thanks a lot. Thanks, Gus.